Hello guys and welcome to another video, and this one is the new daily race C trial mountain circuit in group 4. And for this one I actually got a pretty decent qualifying place, and at the time I was filming this video it was P10 in the world, so my time was good enough to put me into P2 in this lobby. So it's the top split, and the top 10 in the world gets you second place for the start of the race, which is interesting, very interesting. And yeah, I had a Frenchman in front of me. He had been slightly quicker, I would say, in the time trial, and now he's leading this race. And I knew that, you know, just if I want to stay with him, I just gotta stay in the slipstream. Otherwise, if he gets away from the slipstream, we are running the same lap times. We have literally the same pace. So I knew that this first section was the most important part of this whole race, because if you don't manage to stay in the slipstream, you're just gonna get behind, and there is no way you're gonna be able to recover from that. So yeah, just staying away from penalties and staying in that slipstream area, which was the crucial, I would say, the crucial point of this whole race. So in total I've done 3 races, and I actually did more, but I had to pick 3 races. So now that you're seeing, we're gonna go race 1, race 2 and race 3, and I honestly don't know which one was better. But okay, Bill behind me, who was really quick. I didn't really expect that Bill is gonna get so quick. I mean, honestly, I didn't know even. I don't know why, but I didn't really see him as a potential threat in this one. I only thought about making a move from P1, but eventually Bill had other plans, and he was, he was really quick and just about there every single time. And now the Frenchman makes a little mistake, so you're always trying to utilize and everything. So basically you just want to get into that slipstream, but it's about 2.5 to 3 tenths. You have to be in that little area if you want to get the move done by the end of the next straight. So if you're, let's say, 4 to 5 tenths behind, you're not going to be able to get closer. So Bruno and me and Bill, we are just now in this battle for P1, and Frenchman just a little bit twitchy with the rear end, and I don't think he had that much confidence in the race with the fuel and everything else. So I don't know, but he was still leading this one, and Bill decides to go, and probably he wanted to get that move done, but with the slipstream I was just behind Bruno, and I made this move stick. So instead of Bill going for a move on me, I instead got the move on Bruno, and now Bruno is just 2 places behind, so we're actually able to defend P2, but P1 is now in my hands, and I'm actually leading this race. You can see these guys were crazy quick, and by the end of the lap, actually Bruno made a little mistake and he fell behind. So now it's all about me and Bill. I mean, honestly, I didn't know where he was pulling all of that pace. I mean, he was just so much quicker in the last section that he was always quicker in that one corner. I don't know how, but he was always quicker. And this area is I would say one of the worst ones for me on this track, because you need to get it absolutely perfect, otherwise you're losing like 2 to 3 tenths. And yeah, I made a little mistake. He went down the inside and he took that first place from me, and I was like, okay, I gotta get back. I know if I stay in the slipstream I will get back, I mean, eventually. But he had so much pace when he was exiting the corners. It was unbelievable, especially this one. I don't know where he was putting out all of that speed, and where did all of that speed came from. Like, say, 3rd gear, 4th gear on the way out, and you can see how much more speed he had. I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable. I mean, okay, in the qualifying you can kind of get away with it. You can be, let's say, a little bit more on the edge in the qualifying, but this is the race. I mean, you should be able to do like 10 races, or sorry, 10 laps like this. I mean, it's not easy. It's very difficult to perform in this level for 10 laps, and every lap has to be very consistent, I would say very precise, especially on this track if you want to get to the finish line. If you just make one wrong move, you're into the wall, you're getting a 1-second penalty or whatever can happen, it's game over. But Bill was able to hold on, and he finished in P1 while I finished in P2. So nothing really much that happened in this first race. So basically we were just running literally the same pace over the whole race. But now it was time for race 2, and this time I'm starting in P1. So Bill once again behind me, and we got Fusa in 3rd place and Ace in 4th. And I thought, okay, maybe this time I learned my lesson. I watched the replay. So in the replay, I figured out what are my main advantages and my disadvantages. So the last section, I had to go a little bit wider, but now I decided to, wow, why not? You know, let's go flat out. Then I almost lost the car literally in the first corner. I mean, we can call it first sector, it wasn't really the first corner. And now Bill was once again really close. He was having none of it. Basically, he just tried to, you know, get as close as possible. And I think in the process, he was saving tires. So this was also a very interesting point. I was always going flat out. I didn't really care too much about the tires. Of course, you need to take care of the tires, but you can see that I'm really pushing at this point. I just gotta maintain this pace, and I really want to win this race. I mean, it was one of those things where you just have to absolutely push every single lap if you want, you know, any kind of decent result. But Bill was thinking about, okay, maybe the other guys behind, they will get closer if we start fighting early on. So he was actually pushing me for the first couple of laps. Every time we were on the straight, he didn't go for a move. He actually had a couple of good chances to go for a move, but he just said no, I'll wait, and we will fight it out in, let's say, the last part of the race, which was actually smart, because now we are fighting for P1 and P2 instead of fighting for, let's say, top 5, which, you know, always isn't really that great, but, you know, maintaining P1 and P2 was very interesting. I mean, if you got people that race like this, it's very interesting to race. But yeah, he made this move stick. I mean, really, I didn't cover it. I thought he was gonna bump draft me one more time. He didn't do it, and I actually lost this first place. But now he's in front of me, and I thought to myself, if I can stay in the slipstream once again, I'll have a good shot of eventually going for a move on the straight, which, you know, I have to just maintain this little gap. 2 to 3 tenths, I think that's optimum, and I was in 2.5, let's say. So if I can just stay with him for, let's say, a 1.5 corners, that was just about enough. But the speed that he had through this section was absolutely incredible, and once in a while you need to make a mistake, because if you're pushing it every single time, you will make a mistake eventually. So this is exactly what happened in here, and I just went to the inside of this one. I think he realized that there was nothing really much that he could have done here. I had the straight line speed now. It's just one of those things. He made a mistake, he realized about it, and he's just trying to make the most out of it now. So let's not lose a lot more time. If he went left or right, it wouldn't really matter that much. So here, I mean, I was able to hold on to the lead, and this is, I believe, one of the crucial sections of the track. If you get this wrong, and if he stays behind you, you are pretty much done. He's gonna get that slipstream, and if he wants to go for a move now, he could have. He actually could have went for a move. I mean, I didn't really cover this one. I mean, I tried to do it a little bit, but didn't really think about it too much. I mean, yeah, it wasn't one of my priorities on this one, because if you go for a move, let's say here, you got a straight, it's not that important, you can get away with it. But this is a very long straight, and you just want to defend here. If you take the inside, there is a few potential lines that you can take, but also it's a very good line if you want to defend. So it's very interesting corner to say. I don't know how to explain it exactly, but either way you do it, there is always a potential of making a move and making it stick. So third gear, I'm just trying to fight it out here, and somehow, as I said before, he's got it on the outside. Now it's the inside of these 2 turns, and somehow in this first attempt I was able to hold it on. I mean, didn't really know why he lifted, or that he didn't really want to be that pushy here, but you know, I think he just wanted to make it as clean as possible, not compromise our first and second place. And once again, we are just trying to figure out what to do. I didn't really go for a move once again. I mean, didn't know what to do, honestly. I mean, I probably should have defended that one, but now we got the straight, and there is really nothing much that he could have done. I mean, if you go for the inside, you can overshoot the corner quite easily, and then you don't really have anything. So you're just missing your line, and then you're down like 4 to 5 tenths. So it's definitely not worth doing. You can try, but in general, it's always good to wait until you have like a clean very, very clean move that you can do. So here, once again, he is very, very close. I go a little bit too wide, and once again, he gets into that gap. I mean, this is getting very, very interesting at this point. So I thought to myself, oh, okay, this is gonna be a tight one. This is gonna be very, very interesting until the very end. So we both got it. I mean, it's kind of hard to explain, but you've got it, but he's got it, let's say, a little bit better. I mean, it's always at 1 or 1.5 tenths that he's just a little bit quicker than you. And fourth gear on the way out, and I was in that, I would say, striking distance, and that's exactly what I tried to do. Going for the outside of this one. Outside means that you're gonna have a little bit better exit, not that much, and yeah, I'm just trying to squeeze myself in here. I mean, not really the place to go for it, not really the chance, and I almost lost the car in here. I just tried to take the most of the corner. I mean, I just tried to carry all of that speed through, and now it was pretty much gone. He was almost a second up, and I knew that just in the one, I mean, it's one corner, but in the whole lap he's not going to lose that much time. And in the end I even got a 1 second penalty, which was, let's say, not the best thing that ever happened to me, but you know, I think he really deserved this P1, and it was a very clean and good fight. So I mean, congratulations, Bill. I mean, that was well deserved, I would say. And the whole finishing lap time was like pretty interesting. We did a fairly quick race considering everything that happened. And now the third race was one with Dani. Dani is also one of the top split drivers in Asia, and he recently qualified for the World Tour, and he's leading this one, and I'm in P2. So I'm just trying to, you know, stay with him for a little while, not make too many mistakes. And eventually I knew that if I can save the tires a little bit better, so with, let's say, a couple of races done already, I knew how to do it, kinda. But I always try to say, okay, you know what, if I can stay in the slipstream, I can save the tires. If I don't stay in the slipstream, I mean, I'm pretty much done. So it was all about staying in the slipstream. That's exactly what I tried to do. And by the end of the, let's say, the straight of the first lap, the main straight, it was time to go for a move, and he really didn't want to defend. I mean, I think he knew that it's really not the time to defend. So he can always stay behind me, he can always save up his tires and maybe eventually be in a better spot for the last, let's say, 3 to 4 laps. So I didn't really want to stay behind someone. I really wanted to have my own race. You know, leading the race is always better than staying behind someone. I mean, most of the time. But if you're in such a race where you need to save tires, it's actually a little bit better to stay behind. But now he's going for a move. Lap 3, he overshot the corner a little bit, and then once again I'm retaking my lead and back into P1. So almost lost it, but it was very, very close. So here, once again, he's going on the outside, and I said a couple of times there is a lot of potential lines that you can take, and it was very, very interesting that the lines that he was taking, a little bit wider, a little bit more narrow. It depends, it really depends on the situation, but you can take a couple of lines and still get away with it, and still be quick, and still go for that move. So that's why I think this is one of the tracks that are the most, I would say, these kind of tracks or GT tracks are one of the most interesting in this game. So some of the guys actually said, okay, we do prefer racing with artificial or GT tracks, and yeah, it's interesting. They definitely make it more interesting than usual. So here, Dani once again, he's going to the inside, but I'm somehow holding on to the outside of this corner, and it was very, very interesting. I mean, definitely the lines, you can take a couple of lines, you can stay like side by side, door to door, and you know, I love this clean racing. Honestly, I really, really enjoy it. Whenever I have something like this, and it was pretty much the whole afternoon that I had like this, it was absolutely incredible. So, you know, he's trying to go for it once again, and on the outside, you can see on the outside once again, fourth gear, I'm just trying to downshift, but he's staying with me, outside line, and he's holding on to it. But now he's got the inside. And yeah, it's very tricky, it's very tight in here. We made a little contact, but it was nothing too much. I mean, I would say it was clean. I mean, racing incident, if it even was. I don't think it was even a racing incident. Just a little tap, I mean, nothing too much. And I'm back into P2. I mean, really not the place where I want to be. I want to win this one. I really wanted to win this one. And I always try to position myself the best way I possibly could for the straight. And, you know, it's one of those things. You're trying, and it just won't stick. I don't know. But on the outside this time, it's not going to work. I try to go for a little bit later entry, just to carry more speed, but he's covering down the inside, and there is really nothing much that you can do about it. So, you know, just taking my time and realizing, okay, maybe I need to just stay with him, don't make a mistake, we'll have another shot. And this shot came in the next lap, and once again, I tried to go for the outside of this turn. I'm just trying to stick with it, but it didn't. I really couldn't hold on. I mean, I probably should have put the power down a little bit sooner. And it was like, okay, inside, couldn't really go for it. I mean, it was not really worth the risk. I think he even tapped the wall there. It wasn't really that, I mean, it wasn't really that clean for him of a corner, but he stayed in first place. Once again, next lap, once again, we're just trying to go for the outside of this one. I mean, I always thought, okay, 2 to 3 tenths is just about enough outside. I don't know why, but outside, I love the outside of this one. So he kind of overshot the corner, and this is my shot. This is my shot. You know, they say if third time is the charm. So basically, this is what I did. Get in there, P1, I knew what I had to do, just drive clean until the race ends, and it was 10 out of 10, P1 for the first time of the day, and it actually felt really, really good. And the lap times were pretty similar, and the whole finishing time was, I think it was close to being identical. So very nice, very clean racing, and I do enjoy when I have something like this going on. So guys, I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, you can always hit a like button. You can even subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of this. And that's about it. Until the next time, bye.